In this video session, we are going to discuss law of radioactive disintegration, which is very important concept of radioactivity. And we can expect questions from this area. From law of radioactive disintegration, we can expect questions in entrance and as well as for board exam. What does this law of radioactive disintegration state? As we already know that let me take a nucleus. Like we know that a nucleus is able to undergo disintegration due to its instability. It emits alpha, beta, and gamma radiations. Alpha, beta, and gamma radiations it emits. When the nucleus is undergoing disintegration, that means as the particles come out from the nucleus, the number of nuclei in that nucleus, in that sample, will be decreased. So we can write dn divided by dt, where n is equal to number of decaying nucleus. The number of decaying nucleus in the sample. You are taking 1 gram of sample. In that 1 gram of sample, there may be some n number of nucleus. And from that nucleus, from each nucleus will definitely undergo some disintegration by emission of alpha, beta, and gamma radiations. So this rate of disintegration is directly proportional to n naught, where n naught is number of nuclei present in the sample at that instant. At that instant. Say for example, you have 100 nucleus. 100 nucleus are present at a time t is equal to 1 second. So you are taking a sample. In that sample, there are 100 nucleus present at t is equal to 1 second. After some instant of time, say t is equal to 100 second. After 100 second, out of that 100 nuclei, some may undergo disintegration. So there is some decaying in the process. T is equal to 1 to t is equal to 100 second, and that decay process I am denoting it with dn divided by dt. This dn by dt, the decay process in time t is equal to 1 second to t is equal to 100 second, is directly proportional to number of nucleus present at that instant of time. Say here, how many number of nucleus are present? 100 nucleus are present. Therefore, the rate of disintegration in time 1 second to 100 second is directly proportional to number of nuclei present, that is n naught. I am taking in this example as 100. Okay, after 100 second, the number of decayed nucleus is 10. So finally, leftover will be only 90 nucleus. Leftover will be only 90 nucleus. So after one more 100 second, like after this 100 second, in time t is equal to 200 second. From 100 second to 200 second, there will be decay, and that decay is dn divided by dt. And this rate of disintegration in the second interval of 100 second, that is dn by dt, is directly proportional to number of nuclei present in that instant of time. So how many nucleus are present in between 100 second to 200 second? The initial number of nuclei present are only 90. Therefore, it is directly proportional to 90 nucleus. Therefore, law of radioactive disintegration states that the rate of disintegration the rate of disintegration of any radioactive sample at any instant of time is directly proportional to number of undisintegrated nuclei present in the sample at that instant. Here, the decay mechanism, the rate of disintegration is not directly proportional to initial number of nuclei, because initial number of nuclei, however, will be greater as time pass on, the number of nuclei goes on disintegrated. After 300 seconds, say for example, here we are taking with from 90 nucleus, it have now decayed to 85 nucleus. After 200 seconds, the number of nuclei present over is 85 nucleus. And now from in between 200 second to 300 second, the number of nucleus will still undergo disintegration, and this disintegration is directly proportional to 85 nucleus. And clearly you can understand that what is the initial number of nuclei present? 100. And next after 100 second it is 90. Next after one more 100 second it is 85. Why it is 90 and 85? Only 5 number of nucleus are disintegrated in that time, because initially there are 100 nuclei, therefore rate of disintegration is more because number of nuclei initially are 100. In next 100 to 200 second, the number of nuclei has been decreased to 90. Therefore, the decay process is directly proportional to 90, not 100. As a result, what happens to decay? Decay will be slightly decreased because the number of nucleus present at that instant of time is decreased. So clearly 90 will not become 80 in this case, because the rate of disintegration is proportional to 90. Likewise, in between 200 to 300 second, the rate of disintegration is directly proportional to 85 nucleus. Likewise, still it decreases. Therefore, every nucleus at one time or other time will definitely undergo disintegration, and that disintegration is directly proportional to number of nucleus present in that instant of time, which is dN by dt is directly proportional to number of nucleus in that instant. If I remove this proportionality, I should include a constant, and that constant is lambda, and this lambda is called decay constant. It is called decay constant. So where n is number of undisintegrated nucleus present in the sample at any instant t, and dN by dt is rate of disintegration. And this negative sign represents that negative sign represent number of nucleus in the sample are decreasing. The number of nucleus in the sample, they are undergoing decreased. So this is called law of radioactive disintegration. So from here you can just derive a simple equation for law of disintegration. I'll derive that. We have dN by dt is equal to minus lambda into n, right? This dt goes to the other side. So dN is equal to minus lambda. So this I take it as n naught. I don't want to get confused in between this n and this n. So I will denote it with n naught into dt, right? So if I integrate this, integration dN is equal to minus lambda n naught into integration dt, where this integration dN, initial number of nuclei, initially the number of nuclei present are n naught. After some time taken t, the number of nucleus present is n, because the number of nucleus goes on disintegrated. 100 will become 90, 90 will become 80, 80 will become 70, so on. So finally, after some instant of time, 100 is becoming 90. So n represents that. This n is 90, this n naught is 100. And initial time at t is equal to 0 second. Final time I am taking it as t. So integration dn is n. Limits are from n naught to n, which is minus lambda n naught into t. So this can be written as like one small thing I'll do. This n naught is also variable with respect to time. So I'll just bring this n naught to the other side. I'm sorry. I'll bring this n naught to this side. N naught, because it is n naught is not constant. 100 is going to decrease, right? 100 will become 90, 80, 70, 60. So n naught is a variable. So d by dx of like integration of 1 by x dx is log x. It is log n naught. Integration limits are n naught to n. So this can be written as log of n minus log of n naught is equal to minus lambda into t is equal to minus lambda into t. This is log a minus log b is log a by b. Log n minus n naught is equal to minus lambda into t. And this gives you n by n naught is equal to, log comes to the other side, it becomes e power minus lambda into t. And from here you can write n is equal to n naught into e power minus lambda into t. This is very important equation which gives relation between number of nucleus present at one instant of time. After some time taken t, you can calculate the total number of nucleus in that sample. So where n is equal to number of nucleus present after time t second. N naught is equal to initial number of nucleus. N naught is initial number of nucleus present in the sample. N is the number of nucleus present after some time taken t. Yeah. So we already have derived this equation. N is equal to n naught e power minus lambda into t. N naught and n, they are the disintegrated nuclei and initial number of nuclei. So I can calculate number of nucleus disintegrated is n dash, which is equal to n naught minus n. Number of nucleus is initially n naught minus, after some instant of time, how many number of nucleus are there? It is n naught into e power minus lambda into t. Therefore, number of nucleus which are disintegrated in time t second will be n dash, which is equal to n naught into 1 minus e power minus lambda into t. And remember, n dash is equal to number of nucleus disintegrated in time t second. It has been disintegrated in t second. And see, for example, you are taking 100. 100 has been disintegrated to 90. This 100 is denoted with n naught and 90 is denoted with n. 100 minus 90 is equal to 10. This is equal to n dash. N dash is the total number of nucleus which are decayed. So in time t second, the total number of nucleus which are disintegrated is only 10. The number of nucleus after t second is 90. And the initial number of nucleus present are 100. This is just for example. This is the difference between n naught, n and n dash. So we already have derived equation n is equal to n naught e power minus lambda into t. Bring this n naught to the other side, just mathematical alterations. N naught is equal to e power minus lambda into t. I'll write this as log of n divided by n naught. Log, if I take log on both sides, it will be only minus lambda into t. Then from here, t is equal to minus 1 by lambda into log of n divided by n naught. This is one more important equation you can use in order to solve problems. Say, calculate time taken to disintegrate 1 gram of sample to half gram. You can use this relation. You can take this time equation and you can find out in how much time 1 gram of sample is undergoing disintegration to half a gram. And lambda value is variable for different nucleus. Lambda value changes for one nucleus to another nucleus. Lambda for uranium is different. Lambda for thorium is different. Lambda for actinium is different. Different lambda values you will be getting for different nucleus. Depending upon that lambda value, the nucleus will be undergoing disintegration. Some have greater rate of disintegration. Some nucleus will decay randomly, but some nucleus will decay very slow. For example, if you are taking carbon isotope is actually radioactive. If you take C14 element, which is isotope of carbon C12, that takes nearly 5,700 years to disintegrate into half. If you are taking 1 gram of C14, 1 gram of C14 will become half a gram in 5,700 years. And that principle is used in carbon dating. We can estimate age of the fossils using such carbon dating. Right. So we have equations n is equal to n naught e power minus lambda into t, or you can use t is equal to minus 1 by lambda log divided by n naught. Right. Now you can plot graph for number of nucleus which are left over and number of nucleus which are undergoing disintegrated with respect to time. If I take, say, for example, 100 nucleus initially at a time t second, like I am taking it as t1 second, and after some time there are only 90 nucleus which are present, that is at time t2, and then it will become 80 at time t3, so on. It undergo disintegration. Finally there will be only 10 nucleus left at some particular 10th second. This is what decay actually takes place. Decay of 100 nucleus to 10 nucleus. Each time the number of nucleus which are undergoing decay is, like, here it is 10, here it is 10, and next it will be 10. We are taking a period of 10 nucleus for every different times. So if you plot graph for number of nucleus which are left and number of nucleus which are undergoing decay with the time, you will be getting graph like this. Initially the number of nucleus are n naught. This represents it is 100. After some time, how many are left? Only 90. After some time, how many are left? Only 80. After some time, how many are left? Only 70. After some time, it will become 60, 50, 40. Finally, the rate of disintegration is exponential. Remember that. It is exponential decay. That means the decay mechanism is rapid initially. As time goes on, increases. The decay mechanism will be decreased with respect to time, because the number of sample, a number of nucleus in that sample will be decayed. Therefore, decay process is purely exponential. This is one thing you need to remember. and the number of nucleus which are undergoing disintegrated, number of nucleus decayed goes on increases. So first how many are decayed? 10. Next how many are decayed? 10. 10 plus 10, 20 decayed. And next 10. So totally how many are number of decayed nucleus is 30. So initially there are only 10 nucleus decayed, and then it increased to 20, and then it increased to 30, 40, 50. So finally, after some instant of time, it will become 100 nucleus. The total sample will undergo disintegrated after some infinite time. This is how decay process takes place, and it is purely exponential. Now coming to this graph, time taken t and log of n by n naught. If you are plotting graph for log n with respect to time, if you are taking graph for log n with respect to time, you will be getting a straight line. Because we are taking log, it is not exponential. So you can just reframe this equation as minus lambda into t is equal to log of n divided by n naught. This is log a minus log b, right? Log a minus log b. This is log n naught minus lambda into t, which is equal to log n. This represents y is equal to mx plus c, where c is equal to log n naught. So therefore, if you plot graph for log n and lambda log n and t, you will be getting a straight line with such that c is equal to log n naught. Therefore, this is log n naught, and from log n naught with respect to time, it is undergoing decay. So finally, after some t second, this second term increases. As the second term is increasing, this total value will be decreased. Therefore, log n value will be decreased. Hence, it will have negative slope. Therefore, decay process will be a straight line. Finally, after some infinite time, the total number of nucleus will be 0. Yeah. Students, we already have learnt n is equal to n naught e power minus lambda into t, where lambda is called decay constant. This decay constant is variable with respect to nucleus. From one nucleus to another nucleus, it undergo change. So a decay constant is defined as the ability of a nucleus to decay. So more is the instability, more often it undergo disintegration. Therefore, more unstable nucleus will have greater decay constant. So the decay constant lambda for a given radioactive sample is defined as the reciprocal of time during which the number of nuclei disintegrates to 1 by E times their original value. So decay constant lambda is defined as initial number of nuclei is n naught. After some instant of time, this n naught will be decreased to n naught by E, right? So it is defined as the reciprocal of time taken. This is like time taken to disintegrate the nucleus from n naught to n naught by E. This is time taken. So I can write lambda is equal to 1 by T, right? T is time taken for disintegrating nucleus n naught to n naught by E. Reciprocal of that time is called disintegration constant or decay constant. So lambda is equal to 1 by T such that it is undergoing disintegration to n naught by E. Remember, it is n naught by E. And some important factors regarding this decay constant. Larger value of lambda corresponds to decay in smaller time, vice versa. And lambda can be equal to 0 for stable nucleus. Of course, stable nucleus does not undergo any disintegration because their B by E ratio, like binding energy per mass number value, is very large for them. So as they are stable, there is no disintegration. So lambda will be equal to 0 for stable nucleus. Number 3 is that decay constant is characteristic of the sample taken and does not vary with time. Decay constant only depends upon the nature of nucleus. For example, if you are taking uranium, for that uranium nucleus, at any time, value of lambda will be same. It does not change with time. And number 4, if a nucleus can decay simultaneously by more than one process, which have decay constants lambda 1, lambda 2, so on, then the effective decay constant is lambda equal to lambda 1 plus lambda 2 plus lambda 3 up to lambda n. This is called parallel decay. So if you are taking a sample, like for example, this is a sample in which there are two different types of nucleus, say H2O. Oxygen is one type of nucleus and hydrogen is another type of nucleus. Likewise, if you are taking any two unstable nucleus, say uranium and thorium, this combinedly have these two are combined in one sample. Like this is 1 gram. 1 gram contain uranium and as well as thorium nucleus. 1 gram is decayed to half gram after some instant of time. Now this disintegration not only depends on only lambda value of uranium, it also depends on lambda value of thorium. Such decay is called parallel decay. If a sample or a specimen has different types of radioactive disintegrating nucleus, each nucleus will undergo disintegration with different lambda value. As such decay is called parallel decay. Whenever parallel decay is taking place, the net disintegration constant lambda can be written as lambda 1 plus lambda 2 plus lambda 3 up to lambda n. Students, we already have discussed that if you are taking a sample and that sample is of radioactive nucleus, the nucleus will undergo disintegration. If you are taking this sample of 100 nucleus, say you have 10 gram. Initially, 10 gram of sample have 100 number of nucleus present. After some time, this 10 gram will become 5 gram. It is half decayed. And this 5 gram is becoming 2.5 gram. This is one more half decay. And this 2.5 will become 1.25 gram. This is one more half decay. 1.25 will become 0.625. This is one more half decay. Right? So 10 gram is becoming 5 gram in some time taken. That time I am taking it as T half. 5 gram is becoming 2.5 gram. That I am taking it as T half. 2.5 is becoming 1.25. I am taking it as T half. 1.25 is becoming 0.625. That time in which it has been decayed to half is T half, and this T half is called half-life period of the nucleus or half-life time of that particular nucleus. So you can define a half-life as the time interval during which activity of a radioactive sample falls to half of its value. 100 will become 50, 50 will become 25, 25 will become 12.5. Such process continue. The time taken for the nucleus to disintegrate its half of the initial value is said to be half-life period of the nucleus. Half-life vary from one isotope to another isotope. T may be as small as 10 power minus 16 second, and it can be as large as 10 power 9 second. In some nucleus, T may be decreased, like half-life period may be only 10 power minus 16 seconds. For example, if you are taking tritium, hydrogen isotope, this H13 is radioactive in nature. H13 is radioactive in nature. Its a half-life T half is very small. Similarly, if you are taking carbon C14, as I mentioned, its a T half is nearly equal to 5,700 years. Likewise, there are some nucleus which are undergoing decay to half of its value by a time of 10 power 9 years. 10 power 9 is very large value. Therefore, half-life period of the nucleus depends on its own character. It varies from one nucleus to another nucleus. It changes from one to other. Generally, the time taken to decay to half of its initial value is said to be T half. Now, I can derive equation for T half as we know n is equal to n naught e power minus lambda into T. After T half, n will become n naught by 2. Is it not? Initial number of nucleus are n naught. After half-life, half of them is decayed, half of them is left. So n, I will replace it with n naught by 2 is equal to n naught e power minus lambda into T. This n naught and n naught gets cancelled. I can write it as log 1 by 2 is equal to minus lambda into T. This is log A by B. It is log A minus log B is equal to minus lambda into T. Log 1 is 0. That is minus log 2 is equal to minus lambda into T half. Everywhere it is half. Negative sign gets cancelled. T half is equal to log 2 divided by lambda. This is 0.693 divided by lambda. So T half value is equal to 0.693 divided by lambda, or you can write it as lambda is equal to 0.693 divided by T half. These are the equations related with T half and decay constant lambda. So T half is equal to 0.693 divided by lambda. For parallel decay, lambda can be written as lambda 1 plus lambda 2 plus lambda 3, so on. So this can be written as 0.693 divided by T half, which is equal to 0.693 divided by T1 plus 0.693 divided by T2, so on. Therefore, I can write 1 by capital T half will be equal to 1 by T1 plus 1 by T2 plus so on. This is for parallel decay. Yeah. The other type of term which we are now learning is average lifetime or mean lifetime of the nucleus. Say, as we already have discussed, if you are taking a nucleus, like if this is a sample, this sample will have some n number of nucleus present within it. There are n number of nucleus which are present within it. Okay, so total number of nucleus initially are 100. Out of this 100 nucleus, when Each nucleus is undergoing disintegration, you do not know. Say this first nucleus will undergo disintegration at one time, say T1. This nucleus will undergo disintegration at time T2. This nucleus will undergo disintegration at time T3. This nucleus will undergo disintegration at time T4. At one time or other time, definitely each nucleus will undergo disintegration at one time or other time. Any particular time, definitely the nucleus will undergo disintegration. Therefore, for at particular time, how many number of nucleus are undergoing disintegration, you cannot exactly estimate. You cannot tell. At any time, definitely there will be some disintegrations, but which nucleus is undergoing disintegration, no one can tell. That's called law of radioactive disintegration. So we cannot exactly tell which nucleus is undergoing disintegration, but we can tell how many number of nucleus are undergoing disintegration. Therefore, each nucleus will have certain time for decay. Every nucleus has its own time for decay. Therefore, in order to calculate this total sample of 1 gram undergoing decay to half gram by taking some time t half, is it not? If it is not half of the sample, say 1 gram is undergoing decay to 0.75 gram, it takes some time t. This is not half time because 1 gram is becoming 0.75. It is not half time because half of the sample is not being decreased. In order to calculate this time taken, you cannot use half-life. We need to take average time. We need to take average time. Therefore, the average time or the total time of all the nucleus divided by the total number of the nucleus which are present gives you average lifetime or mean lifetime. So T average is equal to integration T dn, limits are from T is equal to 0 to T is equal to infinity, divided by total number of nucleus n naught. This is average lifetime of the nucleus, and average lifetime of the nucleus can be calculated in this way. It is the average of all the nucleus time to undergo disintegration.